Hi guys, it is Kate here bringing a very exciting TBR to you in advance so all of you have time to plan and join in with the group of lovely ladies that I will be co-hosting a Victorian October read-along, or hashtag Victober. That is what we will be calling it, and I am really excited to have been asked to take part in this. And the other ladies are Katie from Books and Things, Ange from Beyond the Pages, Alysia from Ex Libris, and Yamini from The Skeptical Reader. So these ladies are all equally enthusiastic, and some of them even more so than I am, about Victorian literature. So if you are wanting to kind of feel more positive about a genre that can be somewhat intimidating, I think, to many people who are booktubers or just booktuber subscribers, then you are headed into the right readathon. Now, in this readathon, we have made 5 challenges for you, and it's going to last the whole month of October, so I think that's a pretty reasonable length of time to meet these challenges. We each picked out a different challenge, and each of these lovely ladies will, in their TBR videos for Victober, have suggestions of the other books that they think meet these challenges, and they'll show you what they have picked for their own challenge. And I will just tell you about the challenges and what I have picked for each of those, and I will of course link all of the ladies' videos down below so you can head over to those to get suggestions if you're having trouble coming up with something for that video. So the first challenge is the one that I picked, and it's to read a Victorian novel in a week. And I think that a lot of people can be intimidated by Victorian novels, so I do have some suggestions here for you if you think that seems like really crazy. And so I will show you those suggestions. And the first that I am going to be reading, this is the one that I have selected, and that is The Woodlanders by Thomas Hardy. I've only read Under the Greenwood Tree, and that was a very short one by Thomas Hardy. So I'm really excited to read this. I will be reading this with Katie from Books and Things, and Thomas Hardy, I think, is one of those authors who, before, when I did a buddy read with Ange from Beyond the Pages, said that his descriptions of nature, or Willa Cather's, really reminded her of Thomas Hardy. So that makes me very excited because I really appreciate that about Willa Cather. And this book is around, it's not even 300 pages. So I think this would be very doable in a week, and I'm really feeling like this will just be easy to get through in a week. Then some other suggestions I have are a couple shorter Dickens, and the first is The Old Curiosity Shop. This is one I have not gotten to yet, but it is less than 500 pages, which is on the shorter side for a Dickens. And then following that, hopefully maybe my last Game Changer Books video will entice you to read Great Expectations. This is also less than 500 pages, and I think very doable in a week, and also because of the intensity of the story, I think it would be great to experience it in that amount of time. Then following that is a very short Thomas Hardy that I referenced earlier, and that's Under the Greenwood Tree. This is less than 200 pages and just a very sweet short novel. It might not be as rewarding as a long one, but if you're wanting to fulfill that challenge, you might think about doing this one. Then 2 Bronte books to recommend to you. The first is Jane Eyre, and this is around 500 pages, but I also specifically recommend this because it's just so hard to put down once you read it, and I really think it is something that would be fun to read in a week. I don't think it would feel like a chore. And then even on the lighter side of things, and this was read in 3 days, and that was me not even trying hard to read it in 3 days, and that's Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte. This is like a really kind of short version of Jane Eyre, a lot less atmospheric and a lot just more calm and relaxing. So if you want kind of maybe not as intense of an experience reading a Victorian novel, I think Agnes Grey might be a good idea. So those are my suggestions for my challenge of reading a Victorian novel in a week. The next challenge is a Victorian Gothic novel, and this was Yamini over at The Skeptical Readers challenge, and the one that I have picked for this is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and I think this will be great for October. I am really kind of apprehensive going into this, but it's one of those ones that I feel like I should read, so I think I just want to go for it and read it, and we'll see how it goes. Then the third challenge is to read a novel by a female Victorian author, and this was picked by Ange from Beyond the Pages, so I'm sure you can have lots of suggestions from her if you go to her channel. But the one that I picked is Sylvia's Lovers by Elizabeth Gaskell. I consider Elizabeth Gaskell to be one of my favorite authors, but I have only read 3 of her books. And I kind of have been avoiding the sadder ones, so that's kind of silly. So I really want to try this. And from what I can tell, this is kind of a love triangle. But I really, really have enjoyed everything I've read by Elizabeth Gaskell, and so I definitely want to try this, and hopefully the writing will be beautiful enough that if it's sad, it will be okay, because I will have enjoyed the writing so much. Then the 4th challenge from Katie at Books and Things is read a Victorian fiction that is not a novel, so basically poetry. And I had recommended from my father, actually, The Idylls of the King by Alfred Lord Tennyson. This is a King Arthur sort of retelling, and he said that once you kind of sit down for a half hour and you'll really get into it. And I am so intimidated by poetry, and I know it's a big gap in my reading life, and I really want to fix that. So I will be trying Idylls of the King. And then the last challenge from Alysia at Ex Libre is read a book where the plot is afoot, which I really like that. It just sounds very exciting. So, of course, you can go to Alicia's channel, and she will have lots of suggestions on her video for you of good ones to read for that. I will be reading The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins, and I'll be doing this with all the other lovely ladies who are hosting Victober. So I am really looking forward to that. I think also October is just going to be so suitable for it, and it will be a lot of fun. And then a couple other books I have added in addition to those. The first is Lorna Doone by R.D. Blackmore. This is a classic that ever since seeing the miniseries a few years ago, I really wanted to read. I think this is set in 17th century England, and this is just going to be really different from a lot of what I read. And I love the idea of reading something set in 17th century England because it's basically like Robin Hood era, and I haven't ever read anything in that era, and I think it'll just be a treat. And I think there are there's political intrigue and romance in there, and there's a rebellion, and so I just think it'll be really different and kind of refreshing and a new type of book to experience. And then another one that I added to my TBR is Dombey and Son by Charles Dickens. I will be doing this as a buddy read, the long-awaited autumn buddy read with Victoria from A Hermit's Progress, Amanda Center of Amanda Center, and then Amanda J. And I will link all of those channels down below. I'm really looking forward to reading this with them. I'm going to try to read a Dickens that is, I think it's around 800 pages in a month. Hopefully it will go well. I also have gotten the Kindle edition, and so I think between the two of those I should be able to do it. And this is one that I'm going in pretty blind. I got a basic plot synopsis when I watched Katie at Books and Things, her What the Dickens series, but I don't know too much about it, which I'm really looking forward to, because when I read Bleak House, it felt a little bit like I was reading the screenplay for the miniseries, and so I would really like to experience this fully as a book, and I'm looking forward to that. And then another one that I'm just doing as an audiobook is Treasure Island, and this is one that I've always wanted to read, and I think it'll just be a really fun one to add to the mix, especially since it is considered a children's book. Victorian literature can be pretty dense at times, and so I think it will be nice to switch things up with that. So, I hope you have all enjoyed my Victober TBR. I am so excited to be co-hosting. Some fun videos will be coming out in the future, but we wanted everybody to know about this in advance so they could have plenty of time to plan their really exciting TBRs. I'm really looking forward to seeing all of your TBRs, and if you do not have a channel, please let me know what you think you will be reading at that time. Anyway, I will see you guys for another video soon, and have a lovely day.